Welcome back to Ben Salutes. And when I was a kid, kids acted more mature than adults do now. The Simpsons. Woo! Yeah, woo! Yeah, just hearing that title alone is enough to make people cheer. The Simpsons is not just one of the greatest animated shows of all time. It's one of the greatest shows of all time, period. It's had a big impact on everything in the world, and it continues to be one of the biggest staples of American culture. So, I'll make a nice salute that gives this amazing show its dues. Get ready to start seeing things in yellow. Here is my salute on The Simpsons. Anyway, everybody knows the plot of The Simpsons. Well, the people who still watch it at least. So I'm not going to get into detail of the show's history. I'm just going to start praising the ever-loving donuts out of it. Donuts. Anyway, one of the main things that makes The Simpsons great is the characters. We'll start with everybody's favorite character, and mine, Homer Simpson. He's the perfect example of a bad dad. He drinks, he's loud, he's angry, he's abusive, and he's lazy. Just like all the other dads in America. However, that's what makes him so awesome! Also, he has so many negative things about him that they just make him a hilarious character. Everything Homer does, I laugh at. Well, except for the burping and the farting. But I can't complain. However, there are times when Homer shows how great of a dad he truly can be, and some of my favorite moments in the series are when he has a positive bonding experience with his family. Anyway, Homer is just such a great character that I just can't describe with words. Next is Homer's wife and best friend, Marge Simpson. Marge is not the bland character that everybody claims she is. She's the mom of the family that really has to go through a lot of craziness going on. How Marge hasn't gone insane after all the stuff she goes through baffles me. Anyway, Marge tries to maintain order in the house, as well as protect the little innocence and value her family has, and she oftentimes has some really funny moments. Not to mention, she has one of the best voices in all of animation. I thought she was a man when I first heard her as a child. Bottom line, Marge is a great character that is one mom I wouldn't want to tick off. Then, there's the reason this show became popular, Bart Simpson. The best way to describe him is Dennis the Menace on steroids. He pulls pranks on his school, his church, and even his own family. And he has a smart aleck attitude that would make any old person watching the show go, "Goodness, I would spank that boy with a paddle if he was my son." Anyway, Bart is a great character that is the modern bad boy that any other bad boy wishes they could be. We now enter my second favorite character of the show, Lisa Simpson. Lisa is also a character that doesn't get a lot of praise from fans, but I beg to differ. She seems to be the only saint the family has. She has a good heart, is a strict vegetarian, is really intelligent, and she's a Buddhist. She is a rebel of society who is always trying to fight for what's right. And she's a lot like me. Yeah, the reason why I love Lisa so much is that I can relate to her so well. Almost everything about her I go through as well. Well, except for occasional crazy moments. But a majority of it is relatable to me. Also, Lisa might not be the funniest character, which is why a lot of fans don't like her, but she is a well-developed character, and episodes that focus on her are some of my favorite ones of the series. Bottom line, Lisa is a really underrated character that never bores me at all. And finally, there is Maggie Simpson. Although she's the baby of the family, she is one of the show's best characters. She never talks, yet she is humorous through her actions and a lot of the things she gets herself into. Oh sure, she looks like a cute and innocent baby, but that baby has got some really bad intentions on her mind. Bad intentions. Like, remember the episode where she gunned down Fat Tony and his gang? I want to mess with that baby. As the most interesting baby I've ever seen in animation. Bad intentions. Of course, The Simpsons probably wouldn't have lasted as long if it wasn't for the long list of supporting characters. You see, what makes The Simpsons so great is, although the family is enough to make a show about, their supporting characters are well developed. So developed that you can make a spin-off shows for every single one of them. Yeah, that developed. What makes these characters good is that they're not just wastes of animation that just appear for one annoying joke over and over again. They have 4 dimensions of personality, and they can be used for several jokes that never repeat themselves. I would talk about every single character, but I'll save that for later. Now, to talk about another thing that makes The Simpsons one of the greatest shows of all time. You'll be hearing that a lot in this video. Anyway, The Simpsons is an animated sitcom, and sitcoms are supposed to be funny. However, it's not the sitcom that you see on Monday nights that are the same thing over and over again. The fact that it's animated only helps it to be able to do so much more than your average sitcom. The Simpsons' range of humor is so large, I can't even describe every single type of humor it contains, but I'll try. It contains elements of slapstick, farce, parody, social commentary, exaggeration, surrealism, dark comedy, and my favorite, unexpected humor. Unexpected humor is a type of humor that I think The Simpsons has that I've never seen in anything else. It's when you think a joke is going to go somewhere, but then it turns around and goes into an even more hilarious direction. Like, I remember in the episode Fear of Flying, Homer is in a lesbian bar, and he starts to say, "Wait, there's something weird about this." You think that he's going to mention it's a lesbian bar, but instead, he says, "This lesbian bar doesn't have a fire escape. See? That's hilarious! You don't see it coming, so it only makes you laugh more." Gotta love that shock value. Another kind of humor that has made The Simpsons great is its parody of pop culture. The Simpsons does this better than any other cartoon I've seen that tries to do it. The way The Simpsons does parody of pop culture, although somebody might not know what they're making fun of, it's done in a way that the person will still laugh at what's going on. I remember one joke where the Simpsons were watching a Star Trek movie and all the castmates were old and fat that they couldn't do anything right. I don't even like Star Trek and I thought that was funny. So, if the Simpsons can make fun of something to where it'll be funny 100 years from now, then it's doing it well. I don't normally like pop culture gags in cartoons because it'll make them seem dated, but The Simpsons is one of the few cartoons I know that can do it better than any other cartoon I can think of. And one of my personal favorite things about The Simpsons that makes it really special, although the show is really supposed to be about the family from hell living in the town from hell, it has its occasional sweet and touching moments. Also, there's the occasional moment when the characters of the show die. I know it's rare, and a lot of the characters that die aren't really important, but they still affect me. Like, I got really sad when Bleeding Gums Murphy died. He was one of the few characters Lisa could bond with, and now he was gone. Well, that's depressing. Anyway, although the show is one of the wackiest shows ever, that doesn't mean it can't have its down-to-earth moments as well. There is also the guest stars. The Simpsons is, in my opinion, the show that uses their guest stars the best. For starters, with the show being so popular, celebrities often ask to be on the show, and these are the same people you can't even get to answer their phone. And almost every single famous person out there has lent their voices to this amazing show. Sure, some have been bad, but a majority of them are great. One reason the guest stars are great is because this show does a good job of making the guest stars funny. Some celebrities you never thought could be funny are funny on this show. Also, I love it most when the guest stars play another character and not themselves. It allows them to loan their voice, but not exactly act like themselves, and become a totally different character. Bottom line, the guest stars The Simpsons has aren't shoved in our faces or have no point. They become just a part of the show as the other characters, and they become their own characters on the show that makes them special. One of my favorite things about this show is its annual Halloween specials, the Treehouse of Horror series. With Halloween being my favorite holiday, I love the fact the show takes its time to have a yearly Halloween special every year. Specials are they allow the show to parody horror movies and stories, and since they're not considered a part of the official plotline of the show, they get to be completely wacky, violent, and creative. What's also great is even though they're funny, they can also be scary at times. That's just how good this show is at that. Bottom line, the Treehouse of Horror series is a unique aspect of The Simpsons, and one of the episodes I look forward to most when a new season comes around. And, thanks to this show, it has spawned one of the greatest animated movies of all time. The Simpsons Movie is one of the funniest movies I've seen in the last 20 years, if not the funniest. The plot was grand scale, even by the Simpsons standards, the jokes were top notch, and the characters were on their A game. It had everything we love about the show, all shoved into an hour and a half. It's one of my favorite movies. So, I'm completely baffled that some people don't like it. Sure, I know it's an opinion, but I find it surprising that some fans of the show hated this movie. I really wish someone would explain to me why they don't like this movie, because so many people liked it that I can't find a negative review on it. Oh well. Anyway, The Simpsons Movie is an awesome movie that it's great even if you're not a fan of The Simpsons. Finally, I'd like to address the reason why a lot of people hate The Simpsons. People claim that the show has dropped in quality as the years have gone on. They claim it isn't funny anymore, the characters are becoming unlikable, and it's starting to repeat itself. This is what you hear everywhere, and I'm tired of hearing it. So, I'll give my stance on this. Call me the craziest person ever, but I don't think the show is as bad now as many claim it is. I mean, sure, the newer episodes aren't as funny as the older ones, but I don't think they're that bad. That's probably why people don't like the newer ones, because they compare them to the older ones. Yes, compared to the older ones, they're not as good as them. However, if you just accept them for what they are, they're still pretty good. I personally don't think they're all that bad. The characters are still the same, the jokes are still funny, and it still feels like The Simpsons. And there hasn't been a moment yet of the show where I've facepalmed myself and said, I can't believe they did that. So, it's still good in my opinion. I do think that Al Jean should step down as showrunner and give the job to somebody else. I think Matt Selman or even Dan Castellaneta would make good showrunners. It's a thought. Anyway, although the episodes aren't on par with the older ones, I think they're still really funny, and this show is still one of the best shows on TV. And there is my thoughts on one of the greatest shows ever, The Simpsons. This is a show that had a big impact on the world and is one of my all-time favorite shows. It makes me laugh, makes me cry, and just always knows how to make me appreciate my family. And I will continue to support and watch it until its very end, and I'll be looking forward to collecting all the seasons on DVD. Anyway, now it's time for that special tribute to the supporting characters of The Simpsons. 1, 2, 3. Do 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 do. There's Krusty and Itchy and Scratchy too. Sideshow Mel and Sideshow Bob. Ned Flanders is one godly guy, and his poor wife Maud did die. Now Milhouse is Bart's best friend now, and Nelson is the local bully. Jimbo Jones runs a gang with Kearney and Dolph, and Martin Prince, he acts girly. Now Moses Lack runs a tavern. Barney gets drunk there all the time. Comic book guy is a comic book guy, and Grandpa is way past his prime. Apu runs the local Quickie Mart. Skinner is a principal. Patty and Selma, they like to smoke a lot. Those twins are never apart. Now Lovejoy's a local reverend. Old Gil, he can't catch a break. Chief Wiggum is lazy, his son is crazy. Dr. Nick has come to an end. The Simpsons is one of the greatest shows. Never is gonna die. It's always been funny and not all that crummy, and it's still better than Family Guy. I'm Ben, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna go pitch a Simpsons musical.